This is nothing but that sports talk.
And welcome to Nothing But That Sports Talk. And yeah, yesterday was the NBA draft. We had a lot of crazy draft picks going on. I'm Rafique Louison alongside Overtime Cam here to break it down. Now, what do you mind seeing all the picks starting with number one?
Starting with number one. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Anthony Edwards is gonna be a beast, man. Like he's his skill set. They say they got that Dwayne Wade comparison, man. But you seen him, the buckets he was able to put up in bunches at Georgia. I really like him as the number one pick. I know a lot of people was mad that LaMelo didn't go number one. They was feeling the star power, but I think the Timberwolves made the right choice. I don't know. What about you?
I think that they made a good pick. I mean, it was predictable, but unpredictable at the same time. I mean, if the number one pick could have went to any one of those guys you just said, including Anthony Edwards. But James Wiseman was a nice choice. But what do you think about number two pick for the Golden State Warriors, especially considering they need to fill the shoes of Klay Thompson again as he's out for the season?
Man, big news out of Golden State, with Clay being out for the second straight year, the entire season. Prayers up for Clay. That I know that Achilles is tough to come back from. Luckily, it's on the opposite leg that he tore his ACL on about a year and a half ago. But yeah, I really like Wiseman. I think he's going to be definitely a good pro. 7'1" lefty. I mean, he moves so swiftly for his size. You know what I'm saying? I think he fits into this NBA's game, right? Because he's not a classic big, but he can give you some of that classic big energy. He's got some post game as well as stepping out and hitting some threes.
Yeah, and the Warriors need all the 3-point shooting that they can get with Klay Thompson out for another season. It's with a healthy Steph Curry and a healthy Draymond Green. The way that they shoot those 3-point shooting, the team is literally loaded with 3-point shooters, and they add another one with this number two pick. And we all know how many number two picks in last NBA drafts, well, minus the ones in 2000s, have won a championship.
How many?
Well, I would just do some research on that one. KD got a couple of championships, being drafted number two. Dwayne Wade got a couple of championships in the top two. And just to name a few. The list can go on and on and on. Now we can get to number three, LaMelo Ball. What's your impressions on that?
You know what? They said Michael Jordan was drafted number 3 too.
Exactly.
Right? And to see him go to Jordan's franchise, right? The Hornets. I mean, if you want to be a star, there's no one better to learn other than the GOAT. We all watched The Last Dance. I think the things that they wanted to work on are like LaMelo's weaknesses. That the skill was there and the potential was there, but it was all going to be the mentality and mindset. Could he get himself in the mind of a professional? Will he be able to take the defensive end serious? And to be honest, I don't see how that development doesn't happen. With Michael Jordan, his team, his ownership, under that leadership. The Hornets were a decent team, but I think they, I don't know if they're jumping in that playoff range right away, but they got a lot of young talent out there, man, that I really like to see play alongside Melo. You know what I'm saying? I really like Miles Bridges. PJ Washington was another guy like that. They had Malik Monk, but yeah, they had some people that could put up points, and Melo's just going to be right there with them.
Exactly. They may not be able to replace Kemba Walker, who left it for the Boston Celtics last year or a few years ago, but this guy is something special. And you're special when you're part of the Ball family. I mean, Lonzo Ball, we haven't really seen much of him. His IQ could use a little bit of development, but he's doing all right playing for the New Orleans Pelicans. But LaMelo Ball, if you see his highlights of his overseas games, he's something special. He can really get you in.
He's looking like the truth.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. And drawing Magic Johnson comparisons? Like, what?
Exactly.
Like that's scary potential. And shout out to LeVar Ball, man. People slept on LeVar Ball's vision, but he's 2 for 3. He did say all 3 boys was going to play for the Lakers, so he was wrong on that one. But he's shooting 2 for 3 right now with Suns in the NBA and in the top 5. There was the first 2 brothers to make it to the top 5 of the draft. So that was some pretty dope history.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? LeVar Ball is 2 for 3. His Suns drafted in the top 3.
Yeah, right. Not even top 5. It's a top 3, which is just like, man, you can't do any better as a coach, as a father. Yeah, excited to see where that legacy goes because it's only just the beginning. Even for Lonzo, the oldest, definitely just the beginning for Melo. And maybe who knows? Maybe LiAngelo sneaks in through one of those G League call ups, and he can complete the prophecy.
But there's a lot of talent. There's always a lot of talent in the top three. It's just a matter of how they gel with the teams that drafted them.
It's so huge to have the connection, who they learn under, who's in front of them to begin with. You know what I'm saying? Because you think about Steph Curry's trajectory. He came in playing with Monte Ellis. High scoring offense, really kind of that Don Nelson classic style. Right, we're gonna score a lot of points and try to beat you that way. And then his shooting was really able to shine.
Mm-hmm. But after that, what are your impressions about the number 4 pick in the draft? The number 5 pick.
Patrick Williams was not a guy I expected to go top 5.
Y'all thought he was going to get drafted by the New York Knicks. We'll get to the New York Knicks impression later on. But what are your impressions? How big do you think Patrick Williams is going to be for the team that drafted them?
Patrick Williams has game. He definitely got game and potential. I think he's going to be a solid pro. His game seems a little. It reminds me a little like Paul Millsap a little bit. He's really seems like a slasher to me, but looks like he's going to help you a lot on the defensive end. He could develop into like a 3-and-D guy. I could see that happening, but they decided to take a chance on him at the number 4 pick with the Bulls. We'll see how it turns out. I would have taken at the same position the number 5 pick, Isaac Okoro. I think looked really athletic and really looks like he could be something special in the league. He ended up going number 5 to the Cavs, though.
Yeah, and you know what? This rebuilding is smart for them because you're pairing them up with Kobe White, marketing, Zach LaVine. Chicago
Absolutely.
has potential to be back into the playoff fold since they don't waste no time rebuilding from the ground up.
For sure. I won't say the Bulls are there yet. They're definitely not there yet. But the young core, you know what I'm saying? You got an all-star like Zach LaVine, leading that group. They're gonna be exciting to watch. We're gonna have to see how that one plays out.
Don't be so sure about that. Look at how impressive John Morant was, and he was in the top 4 for the Memphis Grizzlies. The guy literally stole the Rookie of the Year show.
For real. You know what I'm saying? I would have loved to see how that battle would have played off had Zion been healthy the whole year. But this year, there was no doubt Ja was the Rookie of the Year. Came a most impactful player right off the jump.
Yeah, but there's so many draft picks that I'm not going to name all of them, but let's just get to what I felt was the biggest draft pick that we ever seen in a long time. Obi Toppin.
Hey,
You like some Toppin in New York?
Yeah, they're gonna love Obi Toppin in New York. His game to me reminds me of who I say Rudy Gay.
He reminds you of Amari Stoudemire. Look at the highlight.
You like Stoudemire? No, he's banging. He's banging crazy. But I also think he's got a little bit of that outside too. He was shooting that thing in college. You know what I'm saying? It seemed like he was right around that 35 to 40%. And that's a big dude stepping out there and shooting that. So he's just going to expand the floor. As a 4, it's exactly what you want in today's game. Someone's got to be able to hit the 3, can defend, definitely can make plays with his athleticism. He's just going to make plays even when there's not a play there sometimes.
But the only issue with that is the Knicks lack depth in their roster. They only had literally 2 guards going to the offseason. Well, there's free agency, so they can straighten that out. They just picked up Ed Davis earlier, but getting back to the Obi Toppin pick, they added some Toppins on the New York market, but they got no point guard. So,
yeah,
how do you feel about that?
They need a lot, to be honest with the Knicks do. But Obi Toppin is a great start, and maybe even can be a selling point to land somebody who can run the show at the point guard for the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? You could be playing with Obi, the future. You playing in the Mecca. Come on, the Garden. I mean, who doesn't want to step into that role and, try to be the guy running the show for the Knicks?
Mm-hmm. And I was hoping that they draft R.J. Hampton or Cole Anthony alongside this guy, but Cole Anthony got drafted to the Orlando Magic, and all of a sudden Spike Lee jumped the bandwagon. What are you doing?
Yeah, I would have loved to see Cole be the hometown kid playing for the Knicks just like his pops did. That would have been so sick.
Yeah, Cole Anthony knows how to shoot. And I'm sure you witnessed or got an idea of the guy's game with all the overtime videos that the guys have been doing.
Yeah, Cole Anthony has definitely been an overtime OG for sure. I wasn't with the company at that point, but when they held their first All-Star game in New York, Cole Anthony was a part of it. And in that game, if you go back and watch that video, he predicts like becoming a one and done. He's like, 1 year college, be out. 3 years from now, be drafted. It was spooky to watch.
Too bad you can't get that in the women's game, but yeah, that's just how basketball flows sometimes. But after the Obi Toppin is going to add some toppings on the New York Knicks market. I swear to God, like I said earlier.
Absolutely.
If you look at this guy's highlights in Dayton, it's almost like you watching him play at Dykeman Park or Rucker Park or Hoops of the Sun. His pops was killed in Hoops of the Sun. I'm sure you've seen his pops highlights. That's
His
where he gets his
pops?
skills from.
Okay, I got to look up his pops.
Yeah,
I had no
it's on
idea.
his Instagram. You can check it out. But Obi Toppin, man, you wasted no time getting to the Garden and saying, I'm glad to be playing for New York. You can see the emotional reactions from this man after he found out he was getting drafted to the New York Knicks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Struggled to get New York basketball players on their squad.
A local guy, you wonder how a guy like that goes under recruited and ends up at a Dayton. But you know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. He let his game speak. Couple years at Dayton, and then boom, top 8 pick. You know, I think most players would take that trajectory rather than going to Kentucky and then fizzling out.
Yeah, but to take a deeper dive on this, like, which NBA team we think was the most surprising and biggest winner in this year's draft?
The biggest winner. Sheesh, man, that's tough. I mean, time is definitely going to tell, but it's hard to go against what the Thunder, are doing right now. They have picks lined up for days. Like, you know what I'm saying? The wheeling and dealing that they've been able to do, I think is going to tell time probably like 5 years from now when they're able to use all those picks. But I think they have somewhere around 20 first round picks, you know what I'm saying, in the next maybe 25 first round picks in the next like 7 years. They're going to be able to do a lot with that. So I think the long game could definitely be Thunder. Short game, let's see. Who was able to really pick up some key pieces? I don't know. I did like what the Sixers were able to do, drafting Tyrese Maxey. I think he could be a good fit for them. They definitely needed some advanced guard play. They need some people that can shoot, put up points in bunches, you know what I'm saying? They already have their core, which is, they got rid of Horford. They moved Horford, which I felt it was kind of expected, but they stayed with Ben Simmons. You got Embiid. They're going to get you their buckets, but they really kind of clogged that paint up. So you got to open it up with shooters and playmakers. So I like that they drafted a point guard that could fill it up a little bit out of Kentucky, Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah, and look at the percentage that Maxey shoots. I mean, it says it all.
Yeah, for sure. And I think his shot, like many other rookies, when they adjust to that from that college line to the NBA, it's going to be a little bit of adjustment, especially this year. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't have really a preseason to jump into, dip your toe in the water of the NBA ball. No, they're just going to jump right in. But yeah, I think he's a guy. His mechanics look good to me, and I think his three-point shot is going to improve like a lot of others I saw. I say Nico Mannion is another one of those guys like that. Like, that the fundamentals and everything is there. He might not have shot it as well as he could have in college, but he's going to be, I think, a dynamite shooter, the both of them.
And with all the dynamite shooters, that you can really get some serious points and in a hurry when you really have to get those points, because scoring is a big, major jump ship in this NBA.
Exactly, because you got to keep up with Houston.
In the 90s, when you're going up against a lot of defensive teams. This year, or this season coming up, you could have a lot of offensive-oriented teams coming up, especially for the Golden State Warriors, even if they're without Klay Thompson for another season because of that injury. So you got to be prepared for anything. And I know these rookies are mindful of that when we get to that week-long preseason in December, follow that up by the holiday start of the 2021 season.
Yeah, you think about a week, you jumping into NBA from college, right? Like, that's just got to be kind of pretty mind-blowing experience for a lot of these rookies coming in, these young players, because they used to be a summer league, right? You're actually getting touches, live reps against competition you don't really know, you know. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see who just jumps out at the beginning of the season as a rookie to watch out for.
Yeah, but in your eyes, like if you were to redo the draft all over again as a GM for the New York Knicks, who would you pick? Would you stick with the top end or pick somebody else at number 8?
If Toppin is there, yeah, I'm taking Toppin. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, definitely. I don't think I'm straying away from that. I know my Wizards drafted Denny Avdia right after, but no, I would think I would pass on a talent like Toppin. I really think he was at the time the best on the board. You know, you got Precious Achua, who did look real good out of Memphis. Looks like he could be like a really athletic, like 3-man. He has the potential to, I think, be a really good 3-and-D player. Josh Green, another guy like that. But yeah, I think Toppin was the best on the board for the Knicks at the time.
I'm glad you're thinking like a Knicks GM if you were actually to get to that point in your career as a basketball person. But let's get to this tricky question. Who would you play one-on-one against? Toppin, Melo Ball, Wiseman, or Edwards?
Ooh, okay. Toppin, Melo Ball, Wiseman, or Edwards? Man. I think I just want to play against LaMelo Ball because I think he's trash talking is definitely an art. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like he's probably a pretty good one. You don't see it as much. Maybe you'll see it in some of these NBA broadcasts coming up. But I'd like to hear some of his trash talk. I think it'd be kind of funny, and yeah, it'd be good to be matching up against someone that has that so much fame and hype coming in. Playing against Obi would be really dope, just because he was like one of the best college players this year. That'd be really. I mean, playing against all of them would be definitely really interesting. James Wiseman, I have to make sure we play and make it take it, and I get the ball first, because if you get me in the post, it's kind of over with.
Just shoot your threes faster and you won't get blocked by this man.
Yeah, man. He's almost taking up both sides of the backboard with that wingspan.
Yeah, there's just a lot going on. But we'll just get into like the second round of the NBA draft. Like, which team you think impressed you the most in round 2 of the draft?
Round 2, things start to get a little weird. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because some of these players, they come from overseas. They might not have played against the same college competition. So like, how are you measuring how ready someone is for the league? You know what I'm saying? I did like what the Pacers did, picking up Cassius Stanley. You know what I'm saying? I think his athleticism, at the very least, is going to translate to some awesome defense at the NBA level. You know what I mean? I've honestly never seen someone jump that high. He may have had the highest vert at the combine. I did like who the Hawks got underrated. I think out of LSU was this dude Skylar Mays. So he played with Tremont Waters, and he also played with Naz Reid. But yeah, he's a dynamite wing, can shoot it. Definitely has bounce. Dunked on a couple people at LSU, and I think he's going to be a great pro.
Yeah, and let me tell you something. The second round does have some NBA, so don't sleep on whoever you pick for round 2 of the NBA draft. Like, look what happened back when Lance Stevenson got drafted by the Indiana Pacers in round 2. Look at how he was balling in the next 4 years after that.
Do not sleep. There are some really good players, like Nico Mannion in the second round. Obviously, Trey Jones, you know what I'm saying, ACC player of the year and defensive player of the year. You know what I'm saying? You're getting that as a rookie point guard. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be a really solid pro, no doubt. Shout out to Jay Scrubb going from JUCO to the NBA. That's an insane story.
Yeah, I know. But let's get into like your impressions about RJ Hampton in his draft day. Like, I understand that you was doing some work around him. Like, what was that like? And what do you think about him?
I actually was not able to go down to Dallas to be with RJ Hampton as planned, but no, I think he's going to be a great pro. His stock fell a little bit, you know what I'm saying, from playing in Australia. He had some injuries, but I think he's going to be a dope player, man. You think about a 6'6" point guard with the build and frame that he has, the handle, the three-point shooting that he showcased at the high school level. His shot wasn't quite there all the time. It wasn't as consistent as you'd like it to be, jumping up to the NBA from the NBL. But, all the foundation is there. He seems like, to me, at least like a Sean Livingston type of player, but then has the potential to get into that upper range of just like someone who can get you 15, 20, man. I think so. I think he can put up points in a hurry. His body looks good.
With you coming off the bench behind Gary Harris and Jamal Murray, I'm telling you, you got 3-point shooting for days with the Denver Nuggets. We see how good the 3-point shooter was during the playoffs. When you add RJ Hampton, you gain a 3-point shooter coming off the bench, potentially a 6-man of the year in the future.
Right. It's not about where you go as far as order in the draft. It's all about fit. Can you be your best at this location? With these teammates around you. And I think that the Nuggets definitely as an organization are going to be able to make RJ Hampton the best he can be. And then that situation that he has, with the firepower, Gary Harris, the firepower, Jamal Murray, playing with Jokic, who's going to attract attention and who's going to find you when you're open. I think it's a great situation for RJ.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, let's just get to talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves, who had the number 1 pick. I asked you the same question that I asked you with the New York Knicks. If you was a GM for the Minnesota Timberwolves, would you have stuck with what they pick or pick a different player?
For the Timberwolves, for number 1?
Mm-hmm.
That is tough because number 1, you had any option on the board. You got any option on the board, man. And I know the Timberwolves, they need something, but man, I say Anthony Edwards was a smart pick, but who I think is going to be the best overall and maybe had the best overall career trajectory, I do think was Wiseman, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if he fits exactly, but I think he could have been another pick for the Timberwolves.
Yeah, you got points. But now that the NBA draft is behind us, we see some incredible moments. But let's just talk about like how the format is for the upcoming 2021 schedule. Like you got 42 games in the first half. You get 1 week break. You get the second half, which is 30 games. You get the play-in tournament, and then it's the playoffs in May. What are your impressions about the format of the NBA season when you saw it?
It's definitely different, but I mean, the 82 games, you got to give the players the rest. I mean, the previous season didn't end until basically like a couple weeks until the normal start time, so I knew it was going to be a different structure, and I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at this structure that they give teams a week off. Otherwise, you're going to have players sitting out, you know what I'm saying? Resting, load managing anyway. And really, I think most of the teams, except for the teams that had deep playoff runs, like say the Lakers, they're going to be ready to go. Like as far as the players, you think about my Wizards, man. I know they made it to the bubble, but they had a lot of time to rest. I'm excited to see my boy John Wall get back to it. John Wall and Beal.
Washington, they had a horrible experience in the NBA bubble.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No doubt. I was surprised we was even there, to be honest with you. Along with the New Orleans Pelicans, but you know what I'm saying. Good experience for the young guys, and yeah, it was really the chances were kind of slim. I'll be honest with you, but we working for the future, same as the Pelicans are.
Yeah, but as a Washington Wizards fan, what are your impressions about how they played out their part in the NBA draft?
I did like the moves that we made. To me, Denny, Avdia, and the backup point guard that we picked up, Cassius Winston, I think are going to be good picks to be able to step right in and contribute. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, I think Denny is going to have less of an adjustment with his size. Being able to step out as a 3 over 4 and play that NBA style of game. I'm really hoping his 3-point shooting, you know what I'm saying, could add to what we're already getting from Beal. Yeah, I really like Avdia. And if you look at Cassius Winston, he's just a solid point guard, exactly what you would want, out of a backup. He plays with great pace, knows time and score, gets the ball who he needs to in the right situation. and I think he'll be really good learning under John Wall. He's also got that speed too, like John Wall. If you look at Cassius Winston, he might not look the most athletic, but he's fast.
Yeah, but how excited? What is the outlook for the Washington Wizards going to the season with the new rookies? Like, would you have them coming off the bench at 6 or 7 position, or you have at least one of them being a starter coming up? Since the Wizards literally had a lot of shoes to fill after coming to the bubble injury prone.
Yeah, absolutely. You never know what's going to happen with injuries, and we was plagued with a lot, for the past couple of years. I don't see Denny starting right away. You know what I mean? Because we're probably gonna have Wall, Beal, and I'm assuming Troy Brown Jr. at first. You know what I'm saying? But I think he could step into that role. You know what I'm saying? Well, as far as he develops, Rui, and then Thomas Bryant or Mo Wagner, then playing at 5. But yeah, I really think the rookie trajectory is as far as they're able to adjust to the NBA game is as soon as we gonna get them in there. You know what I mean? Because this is going to be the future of our franchise, and they're going to be key contributors for sure.
And I will say though, the Washington Wizards do play a lot healthy and do play like in a playoff type of atmosphere and playoff type of team when they're fully healthy. When they're not healthy, they're like a totally depleted team that could barely put up a competitive game.
Agreed. They get so much from their all-star. I'll say all-stars because Beal got snubbed. You know what I mean? But from that all-star level caliber, it's so hard to replace the production of a John Wall, of a Bradley Beal. Like, you know what I'm saying? It completely changes the dynamic of the squad.
Yeah.
Similar for the Pelicans, like it's so hard to replace. Like, say if they lost Brandon Ingram, but they lost like the way that they lost Zion for the larger portion of the year.
Yeah. And I know the Wizards are going to be a much better team than what we saw at the NBA bubble, let alone the regular season. Now, on to the trades that went down on the day of the NBA draft and the day after. Like, which team you think made the best trade in the draft?
The best trade, man. There was so much going on. It was so hard. It was a little hard to keep up with. I see that Denny Green got dealt. Oubre was on the Thunder. Now I'm hearing he's going to the Warriors. So that would be a huge pickup, and like that could be like one of the best moves. Taking their whole draft into account, and then Oubre to already bringing Steph Curry back, the best shooter of all time. That could be sneaky. That could sneaky be one of the most powerful moves in the draft because Oubre is elite 3-and-D. You talk about 3-and-D, he'll bang on your head, hit the three when he's open, and then he's locking down the other team's best player with that length and athleticism.
Exactly. Then that's something that a lot of New Yorkers lack these past few years. I mean, they have the athleticism, but they just have to turn it into a winning basketball culture. And
exactly,
as you said, Obi's like nearly the first step towards bringing back the culture that the team has been lacking ever since 2013.
For sure. If you're talking about the Knicks, just to get that energy back and belief in New York is going to be so huge to energizing and revitalizing a franchise that really should be at the top with all the cap that they have, all the capital that they have, the big market that New York is. But yeah, they got some good young players. I think they could do a lot with, man.
Yeah,
can't sleep on RJ Barrett. His trajectory is still very, very high.
Yeah, the teams we just literally talked about earlier, they really made a lot of impressive trades that could turn their team around. But what caught my eye the most is the Landry Shamet trade to the Brooklyn Nets. I was kind of a little disappointed that they had to give up the 19th pick, though. I was at least hoping that they draft Cole Anthony with their pick. He wasn't available at that point, but if it wasn't that, you could always draft R.J. Hampton. But I get that they had Kyrie Irving to fill the point guard shoes and Karis LeVert and Spencer Dinwiddie for the time being because there were talks about James Harden getting traded to Brooklyn. But
sure.
At this time,
that would have changed everything. If that happens, I don't know what to think, man. Is there going to be enough basketball? Is there going to be enough basketball for all three of them? But, I mean, how do you even begin to stop that kind of firepower, man? Kyrie, Harden, and KD is like, it's Team USA, basically.
Well,
you got to run against Team USA.
Well, I guess you're never going to know anytime soon, but at least you're able to get Landry Shamet, who put in some serious work in the 2019 playoff series against the Golden State Warriors.
Absolutely.
He hit one of the biggest shots in that game, too. I know you remember that moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Landry Shamet, dynamite shooter. It's almost like Brooklyn has kind of a surplus of shooters, man. You wonder if there's room for everyone to stay with some of the bucket getters they got on their squad. Not assuming Harden doesn't come. You know who they got already. You said Karis LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie. I think they
Jared
just
Allen.
re-signed Jared Allen, Joe Harris. You know what I mean? Like they have a good squad. You know, not to mention the huge high-level superstars.
Yeah. And I can't wait till Kevin Durant get back on the court, which reminds me, sometime later down the road will be a season preview of the Brooklyn Nets. But right now, this has been an incredible NBA draft to tip off a short off season. It's kind of weird that we have like a 2-month off season, and the NBA season starts literally next month with limited fans in their own markets. But
it's going to be interesting to see, man, how people respond to some of the adversity. But as far as the quality of the ball, I don't think it's going to drop off, man. We saw in the NBA bubble that was some real high quality basketball. Very interesting. And then some of the players that you sleep on really come out as stars, like a Jamal Murray.
yeah. But let's not forget, we mentioned Al Horford getting traded. Like, how big of an impact will he make on his new team? Since Al Horford has turned a lot of lower market teams to the playoff teams.
Yeah, I do like what Al can bring to the Thunder. He didn't shine as well as I thought he would have. You know what I'm saying, in Philly's playoff run in the bubble. But if you look at what Al has done, you know, for the Celtics, he could step out, hit the three for you at the 4 position, stretches the floor out, rebounds very well, good defense, and you know is a playoff tested player who is not going to shrink from any big moments. He hits big shots, and that's what you love to see out of Al. That leadership is what the Thunder need. You know, they have a lot of good young talent like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and they're just going to need more veterans to push this team to the playoffs, similar how Chris Paul did this year, squeaking them in. Some of that veteran, that wily veteran mentality.
Yeah, I know. But to finish off this conversation about the NBA draft, which of the teams that were the top 3 of the draft board are going to get back into the playoffs as a lower seed team in 2021?
Man. So what was it? It was Hornets, Warriors, and Timberwolves. I don't think it's the Hornets, man. But the Warriors, they're bringing back Steph Curry. You know what I'm saying? They would like to be bringing back Clay, but that roster still has a lot of firepower on it. You know what I'm saying? Potentially adding Kelly Oubre and James Wiseman to that. I think they're definitely a playoff team in that West. That West is going to be tough, but I mean, you really can't count out the best shooter in the game ever. So I think the Warriors definitely sneak back in. As far as Minnesota, they may have another year to wait. I believe that Charlotte another year to wait too. But yeah, they're going to be some impressive teams with some of the young guys that they got on their squad right now.
Yeah, without question. Well, that concludes episode Nothing But That Sports Talk. Thank you for stopping by, Cam. And thank you for tuning in to all the big balls out there. Get your head in the game.
Yes, sir. And keep it in the game. Rafique, I appreciate you, brother. Always a pleasure.
No problem.